How do you navigate the stress in your world? Hi, everyone. Teresa Lisum here, coming to you with my amazing guest co host, Jessica Lewis, and we're evolving women. I'm evolving, you're evolving, we're all evolving. We're all in this journey of evolution together. So, to help with that journey, we're here to share uplifting messages, new perspectives, offer some tools and resources, some wellness ideas, maybe some mindset shifts, maybe plant some new seeds so that we all evolve faster together. But we're so glad that you're here. We give you permission to be your best self. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jessica, thank you so much for being here.
I'm really grateful to be here, Teresa. Thanks for asking me.
Oh, my pleasure. It is always an honor to have such awesome women on this recording of Evolving Women. So thank you. You are one of the awesome women out there doing your thing in the world and contributing to the healing of the world. So thank you so much for that.
You're very kind. I feel exactly the same way about you, Teresa.
Oh, thank you, my friend. So I'm going to ask everybody a question. How do you navigate the stress in your world? This is a stressful time for everybody, and we all need to manage it in our own way, in some way. And I'm asking our viewers and our listeners, how do you manage your stress with as little effort as possible? So we're going to kind of follow that and see where that takes us because we all need some type of tool, some type of resources that really is going to help us keep our stress level down or gone completely, which is impossible in this world. But so, Jessica, I'm going to toss it over to you and please share with us how you manage your stress level.
Well, the first thing I wanted to say, though, is just jump off of something you said a moment ago, which was so cute. Get it all the way down to nothing, which is impossible. But, here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. Stress is required for health because,
Mm,
I mean,
interesting.
if you just look at some of the governing principles of the universe, like things get stronger when they go through some controllable stress. Like, how do we
Mm-hmm.
steel sharpened? How does a salmon form that beautiful thick layer of fat? He has to struggle his way upstream.
Mm-hmm.
Some stress is good, but when it becomes chronic, that's when, our health gives way. So
Mm-hmm.
all of that.
That's a good point. When you're working out with weights, you're stressing your muscle tissues, and that's allowing them to become stronger. So, a really good point. Thank you for that.
Actually, you know what? That's a great analogy for all of these conversations, the workout piece, because how you actually grow, I'm also a personal trainer. So, how you actually grow muscle is you stress it out. In fact, you actually shred it a little bit,
Mm.
but then it doesn't grow until you rest. So, that's
Oh.
why in life, just like in the universe, you have to have these periods of stress and you have to have these periods of healthy rest, and they have to be in
Mm.
balance in order for us to be healthy.
That is so good to know and to remember.
Yeah,
Because I think in our society, at least here in the States, it's go, 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 go. And a lot of people are proud of that. The doing, the doing, the doing, the taking action. Oh, I only sleep a couple hours a night or whatever. And that to know that that rest period is important, if not vital, to our growth is really, really important.
absolutely. Yeah, we really have a young society,
Hmm.
go, go,
Yeah.
go. We're rewarded for being able to multitask.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
And it's like a badge of honor. Oh, I only got 3 hours of sleep because I was working on this thing, but
Right.
it's like the antithesis of health. But regardless, back to your original question. So how do I manage? I try as hard as I can, but with the effort of no effort, to practice what I preach. So
Hmm.
in my private practice, basically the hallmark of what I do is I help people, find their own uh, happy balance of moving well, eating well, and relaxing well. And the reason why I teach those things is because those are the things that keep me patched together. I kind of think of all this as like, if you're sitting on a stool with three legs, you can shorten up one or two of those legs, sometimes pretty dramatically, and you can still sit there, but you may start to lean.
Yep, yep.
You can still sit, but if you crack one leg off, there's no doubt about it, you're going to hit the floor. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's what I try to do. And when I find myself feeling overwhelmed with circumstances, either, outward or inward or, whatever, I just try to fall back on the basics, make sure I'm eating clean, make sure I'm moving around a lot and getting some good exercise, making sure I'm getting really healthy sleep, but also practicing active relaxation techniques because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
those things can even mimic the benefits of good sleep. So if you're having a really stressful day, just spending a few minutes doing some Tai Chi Chih or some mindfulness, it might change the entire trajectory of your day.
Hmm. I mean, just stopping to breathe. Like, how many of us, and I'm guilty of this, we're intently working. We're not even breathing or breathing very minimally, very shallowly. Just to have that awareness to stop and take some deep breaths could change the trajectory of your day.
Yes, yes. And you and I are both teachers of Tai Chi Chih, so we're, even though we do that, we're certainly still people.
Right, right.
And when I'm teaching my classes, I always tell people, do you want to be like James Bond? Or do you want to be like Thich Nhat Hanh? I mean, like, look at the way, people that are under deep, hideous stress behave. How does their body feel? How does it act? And how do you feel when you're really relaxed? And the difference is striking.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Moment, as you said, to just notice, oh my gosh, I'm breathing very shallowly right up here.
Yep,
A nice deep breath
yep.
can make a huge, huge
It
difference.
certainly can. I mean, Tony Robbins, was part of he had a 3-day challenge. I don't remember what it was, a couple weeks ago.
I
And
saw it. It's really
for
great.
40 years, he's been preaching changing your state. I mean, I've heard him give that message again and again and again. If you're intently working on something, just getting up, jumping around, stretching, breathing, whatever is going to change, again, change just that little tweak, that little movement is going to change your trajectory of your day, change your mood, change what your thoughts are. I mean, it seems so minor and so simple. We have these simple tools that other people share with us, and maybe we're dismissive of them. I don't know. Or we just forget about them.
Oh, I'm really glad you brought up the tools and the toolkit and all that stuff too, because again, we know from, this one practice that we share and have in common that we teach, if you look at the basis of it, it's somewhat Taoistic. It is. That's, the very basis of Tai Chi Chih is Taoist or Zen. And we learn from all that we get really good at what we practice most, but we only practice what we like.
Mm-hmm.
So for a lot of people, you can give them tricks and tips and all this stuff, but if they don't like what you're offering or what you're suggesting, if it doesn't resonate with them, they're not going to do it forever. You're only going to do something for a finite period of time just because you think you should do it.
Right, right. And I love that you said find a happy balance. I like that, the happy balance, and finding a happy tool, a happy thing that you can do that you're going to enjoy doing, and it can become a part of your daily habits really, really easily. I mean, creating a habit takes some effort. So we got to remember that it does take some effort to create a new habit, a new way of doing things. But once you get it and you really enjoy it, then yes, you're going to do it all the time. And it's just going to contribute towards that happy balance that you alluded to.
Yeah, or just, even create some little hacks in your life to enable you to remember to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my good friends and fellow teachers, David Parrish, always says, every time you get in your car, just before you go anywhere, just notice your breathing,
Mm-hmm.
notice your posture, just be in the seat.
Yeah. that mindfulness moment.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like that. Just taking a few seconds, it doesn't take that long,
Oh,
just to be aware of where your body is in space, how it's feeling, what it's doing,
yeah.
and you're attaching it to a common activity that we all do.
Yeah, we all get in and out of the car
Hmm.
all day long, or that many of us do, So if you do it every time you get in and every time before you get out, wow, for some people that's adding 16, 17 different moments of mindfulness in your day.
Yep, yep. I love that moments of mindfulness. That is a way to manage our stress. And it, like I said, it's just momentarily, it takes seconds.
Yeah.
Like I love looking out the window, and that's my momentary, mindfulness moment. Just looking out, observing the clouds, seeing what it's doing out there. I love doing that. It doesn't take long, but it makes me happy, makes me smile, and then I can keep on moving. So it's some of these tools don't take hardly any effort whatsoever.
No, no. And I think that's probably a huge stumbling block for a lot of people as they feel like if I don't do the whole enchilada, then
Yeah,
it's not going to be effective and I don't have time
right.
for the whole enchilada.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's so many things that you can do that will make a big difference and they take no time. Like taking a moment to look up from the computer and look out the window.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand up, if you're sitting in front of the computer, stand up. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
old hip thing that happened to me years and years and years ago. And in the last couple of years, I've spent more time sitting because I've been Zooming and,
Yes. Yep.
I find that it starts to get stuck sort of in this chair sit position. So if I just go in the other room and let my leg hang off the bed, open up that hip hinge, take a couple deep breaths, I feel entirely different than
Mm-hmm.
when I'm
Mm-hmm.
in a
Yeah.
chair.
And it's not, again, it doesn't take long and it's not hard and it doesn't require any trip to the gym or any, yeah, it's just a really simple thing that you happen to have in your tool belt that you can do on a regular basis for yourself. And I know it's really important to really allow ourselves that time for that self-care, even if it's just a couple of minutes, even if it's just standing up, even if it is just looking out the window, taking some breaths, sitting in the car and taking a few mindfulness moments. That's all part of our self-care that again is really, really easy, is going to keep us in that happy balance. Oh, I just love that phrase, happy balance.
And so many other little things like, are you hydrated enough? And if you don't know, then
Hmm.
start tracking your water.
Here we go.
There you go. I know I was just slugging it down when we talk.
Hmm.
And if you find that you're not drinking the RDA for water, then make sure you have a really big glass of water. The very first thing when you first wake up is going to set your
Hmm.
whole day on a whole different trajectory.
Oh, yeah. So many simple things to do. Now,
Little
I
things.
do want to tell our viewers that what we have in common, and Jessica, you mentioned it a few times, is the practice of Tai Chi Chih. Um, and I'm not one that was able to sit and meditate. I mean, I could do mindfulness moments, but meditate, and I could never get myself to do it. I mean, maybe I could now because I'm in a different place now, different space in my head. But I loved the fact that this was a moving meditation. And Jessica is an instructor in that. She leads lots of groups of people in Tai Chi Chih. It's Tai Chi Chih. And that's how we met. We both have that in common. And it's just, it does take some time and there is a learning curve and it's not for everybody, but it's just another tool in our tool belt that we do for ourselves, part of that self-care piece. And what you lead other people through is part of their self-care.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, Teresa, you and I have a lot of similarities in our background because we both came to Tai Chi Chi after having, a history with fitness, a history with
Mhm.
health and wellness. And I was just like you. I liked the idea of mindfulness, like beginning at age 15, but every time I would sit down with the express intent to empty my mind, the monkey up in there would run up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The absolute opposite would happen of what I actually wanted to happen. But when I found Tai Chi Cha, it was like the old McDonald's ad. It was like the secret sauce. Because it's, for me, it was so much easier to focus my mind on the soles of my feet or my the midsection of my body moving forward and back and expanding, contracting. And it was like ninja mindfulness. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
right into being mindful. So now, like you, I find that I can do mindfulness very easily, all different kinds, and because I'm in a different space.
That's a good point. I probably can't attribute that to Tai Chi Cha. Prior to Tai Chi Cha, I was very active physically, mentally. My mind was always going, going, going. And once I learned it, it really forced me to slow down my body, which in turn slowed down my mind. And that was like something that it took me a while to kind of be aware of that. And I was like, oh, that is the one of the effects or the benefits of it. And so you're right. Now maybe that's why I am able to be have more of these mindful moments because of that Tai Chi Cha practice, training, whatever.
I suspect that that's true because you really cannot separate the body, mind, and spirit. You just can't. I mean, the proof is the next time you leave the house and you've forgotten something and you have to race back in to get it, or else you're going to be late, just notice your breathing and your posture. I guarantee
Hmm,
you're going to feel like James Bond. You really are.
that's a good point.
On the other hand, the next time
Contraction,
you
contracted. Yeah.
yes. In
Hmm.
fact, actually, if I were to look at your eyes closely during a moment of a severe stress for you, I bet you your pupils even dilate.
Mm.
Not dilate, they contract.
Contract. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so your muscles get
Interesting.
shorter, your breathing gets shorter, your pupils contract. When you're relaxed, though, the exact opposite occurs. And
Hmm.
I feel like Tai Chi Cha really kind of cracked open the door for a whole bunch of aspects of my healthy life. I just, before that, I was always like, just go to the gym, take a lap,
Yep.
a smoothie, that kind of thing. But my health still wasn't all that great. But adding Tai Chi Chuan to the mix, it was kind of like the missing link for me. For me,
And it was that um, um, being able to be in that space of relaxation, which was leading to growth and health and that intentional,
yeah,
restful state
yeah,
that
absolutely.
many of us don't have.
Or just even, again, back to the finding the happy balance thing. Because if you look at, I don't have a picture of the great Tai Chi here, but just think about the yin yang, the great Tai Chi. It looks like this, right? Or like this, depending on how you look at it. Um, but if you think about it, the symbol is sort of suggestive that you can take a good idea so far that it becomes its opposite.
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah. Yep.
So for my years of being a personal trainer, what I first thought when I started working in like gym settings was, oh, there's a whole bunch of, health enthusiasts in here.
Mm-hmm.
But over the course of time, and as I started to play around more and more with Tai Chi Cha and other health and wellness enhancing activities, I noticed, I bet there's some people in here that are actually addicted to exercise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or, but they're flying under the radar in this very yangy, get out there and do it
Mm-hmm.
kind of society as health enthusiasts, when in fact
Yep.
they're either beating themselves up for some behavior that they don't approve of, or they're addicted to that dopamine rush that they get
Mm-hmm.
when they do a hard workout. Or they just are doing it because they think they should and they're shooting themselves to death.
There should. Yeah, yeah, that word should can be so unforgiving and so harsh and sharp for us and for other people, you know?
Yeah, yeah. On the other hand, if we just did Tai Chi Chi all day long and we didn't encounter any stress whatsoever, we would not be healthy either. So we again we
Hmm.
need that happy balance.
Happy balance. Love that.
And the other thing about the great Tai Chi that I love is that you have this dark half and this light half, and they're basically twins of each other. But the balance is a curvy line, which is suggestive of there's constant movement here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Things are constantly coming around. If you look again at the governing principles of the universe, circularity, that's a biggie. You can have
Yep.
seasons or orbits or
Mm-hmm.
days, but things are always coming around again.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
So,
you're right. That out of balance, even a good thing can get skewed and have too much of it, drinking too much water, working out too much. Like you
yes,
said, too much Tai Chi Cha, too much
yes,
yoga. If you spent 20 hours a day doing yoga, that would be too much.
yes,
So even if it's a good practice, a good activity, it can still be too much at some point.
yeah.
It's all about
I
moderation
brought
and
that up because
balance.
I used to work um, in a doctor's office right next door to probably the most popular and well-known yoga studio in Wilmington, Delaware. And I will never forget the day when the owner of that yoga studio walked into the doctor's office and basically told me that he was struggling with all the same health problems that almost all the guys in that office are dealing with,
Really? Wow.
doing too much yoga and too much exercise.
Mm, yeah, that's so extremes are not good for us. So again, bringing everything back into a happy balance.
Yeah.
That is such a good phrase. Oh my God, I love that. And there's something for everyone. There's always some type of movement, activity, mindfulness practice. There's always something for everybody. You may have to experiment and do some exploration until you find something that resonates with you and you can incorporate and embrace on a regular basis to help you manage your stress. So
Yeah.
if you're viewing this and you think there is nothing for you, then yeah, no, that there is.
Keep
Just
trying.
trust that there is. And if you can't find it, reach out to somebody who can help you explore some more. Because sometimes we don't know what else is out there. So we're not aware of certain things. I mean, look at how much is out in the world that we have information overload. And so we can't possibly know everything that's available to everybody in the world. So just know that there is something, you'll find it eventually. Reach out for somebody else to help you. And it's fun exploring too, I think. So, and if,
Fun. And now we have my father-in-law is so funny. He often talks about Google as if it's a person, and he'll say, "Ask Google."
yeah, yeah.
We have,
And
when you and I were kids, we had Encyclopedia Britannicas in the house.
I know.
There's so much
These
good information out there. Sometimes
these kids, they don't know how good they have it nowadays. And now we're on this verge of AI, oh my gosh, and yeah, that's a whole nother avenue, but we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But so I know you already mentioned you're a personal trainer. You teach a Tai Chi Cha. How can people connect with you if they're excited and you've really struck a chord with them and they want to find out more about you?
very easily. I'm also a certified nutritional counselor, so they can ease. And the name of my company is Sculpt Your Life, and I'm a registered trademark. I've been around for about 20 years, and I have a website. And people say it's good. And I did have to play with the spelling of the name a little bit though, because 20 years ago, when I went to get the domain, the one I wanted was taken. So
No.
it's www.sculpt, and that's spelled just the way you'd expect it to be. But then instead of YOUR, it's just UR, LIFE.com. But if you ask the Google, anything related to Jessica Lewis, and it doesn't even matter how you spell it, or Sculpt Your Life, and it doesn't matter how you spell it, 99.999% of the time, I'm the thing that pops up. So you'll be able to find it.
Mhm. Yeah, and we're going to include your contact info. We'll put a link to your website in the description with
Awesome.
this recording so people can find you a lot easier. And just before we sign off, I know you've done a lot of work with veterans. If you want to just touch upon that just for a few minutes.
Yeah, wow. I tell you what, it's funny. Life is so funny sometimes. Often the very best things in the world happen when you think you're on your way to something else.
Words of wisdom there, words of wisdom.
And so what happened was about 5 years ago, thank goodness, people started really paying attention to the fact that the leading cause of death among the military population is suicide.
So
So
sad.
a federal program was created through the VA. The best we could say about it is that it pretty much ended up kind of failing to launch in most areas of the country.
Yeah.
So, but through that work, I just didn't even know how passionate I could feel about something until I started to do that work. It's really something important to me. For the last 9-ish months, I've been piecing together sort of a community-based version of that program. The jury's still out whether or not I'm doing a good job on that, but it is something I feel really deeply passionate about. So I'm working really hard on that. So when you're on my website, you'll see that I have a tab that says Veteran Services. Um, and underneath that, you'll see reference to the federal program, but you also see reference to the Tai Chi Chih for Veterans program and why it's so relevant and all that good stuff. So
Yes, I know that is your passion, and I'm sure everything you put together around that is good, my friend. I'm no doubt in my mind. And you're serving a population that truly needs something like that.
absolutely, yeah, it's
Mhm.
just crazy. In the last 20 years, I think the figure is this: 66 times the number of active duty deaths in the last 20 years. Multiply that by 66 times, and that's been the suicide rate among veterans. Typically using their own weapon. That's the almost,
Oh man.
yeah,
Mm,
they have easy access to the gun.
right, right.
Yeah, I've been working really hard, especially in my home state of Delaware, to kind of really make an effective change in that way. But the easiest way to do it is just to do Tai Chi Chih. That's the crazy
Hmm.
thing. The easiest way to keep your mental health solid or improve it if it's not, it turns out, is Tai Chi Chih, because one of the things that a lot of veterans deal with is the monkey mind,
Mm,
perseverating thoughts, having a hard time letting go of traumatic events, and all these things, that are just really hard to deal with. When you're in your head, you're really in your head. But Tai Chi Chuan is
hmm.
really good at getting your head out of your head. So,
Yeah, and Tai Chi Chi, I want to mention, is all research based.
oh my gosh.
So, yeah, so there is evidence behind the fact that it does work and it does serve this purpose and it does help people on multiple levels. So it's not just something somebody made up that.
Oh, for sure. I'm so glad you brought
Mhm.
that up because last fall, one of the other Tai Chi Chuan teachers and I, as you know, were invited to come up and do a presentation at that medical conference, which was hosted by Harvard Med School.
Mm,
And it was a global conference. I mean, there were, the great minds of Tai Chi Chuan and Qigong and everything there. And the leading researchers in Tai Chi Chuan and Qigong, and Tai Chi in general, you could say, and Qigong were there. And they shouted out to the Tai Chi Chuan practice more frequently than any other style of Tai Chi.
wow.
It was amazing. And the reason why is because no matter where you go, Tai Chi Chuan is Tai Chi Chuan. It's
Yeah.
always the same. No matter
Yep.
which teacher you're dealing with, it's always the same. So,
Yes.
and it's so easy to learn that it's super easy tool to use during a research project. So they use it consistently all the time for all kinds
Mm,
of
that
study.
is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will again put a link and the correct spelling in the in the description with this. Tai Chi Cha is a user-friendly version of Tai Chi. A lot of people group all of those modalities together, and they're all different, but they're all similar in what
Totally.
they offer. And you'll see some movements that are going to look very familiar. But the Tai Chi Cha specifically that Jessica and I practice it's very user-friendly. There's less to learn than in some of those other practices
For
that
sure.
can be really lengthy in terms of learning. The Tai Chi Cha is a shorter learning curve, and it's just as effective,
Yep.
if
And
not more.
it's really remarkable about Tai Chi Cha is that in my opinion, it's the most adaptive Tai Chi Qigong practice out there because with very little modification, it can be done from a chair. And I've worked with a
Hmm.
bunch of people that are not just wheelchair bound, but uh, partially paralyzed.
Mm.
And they're still able to get that same sense of deep relaxation that the standing people in the room are. And a couple of times I've worked with people that were literally unable to move from here down and they just visualize themselves
Mm.
and they still experience this deep, deep, deep sense of relaxation. So
Mm. Wow,
it's
that is so awesome.
marvelous stuff.
So cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing those with us. So again, we're going to have to wrap it up. I try to keep these at a certain amount of time so that we don't lose people's attention span. And I know we could probably talk more about Tai Chi Cha just in and of itself, but I'm going to invite our viewers and our listeners to know that there is something out there for you. I'm
Yes.
just going to invite you to go find it. If you haven't found something already that works for you, that can help you achieve happy balance, help you relax, to enable yourself to grow and to manage your stress, there is something for you. I promise you, no doubt in my mind. You will find it. So that is my challenge to you. If you don't already have one, go out and find something, do some exploring, have some fun in order to find your happy balance.
Right.
Okay, my friend. Thank you so much, Jessica.
I
This has
have
been such a
felt that.
delight. Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled to have you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to our viewers and listeners for listening in. If you know someone who can benefit from this episode, please share. You know the routine, subscribe, go check out Jessica, and we will see you the next time. Thanks, everybody.